All right, as promised, let's do some of your questions right now. Jim Lebenthal, I'll come to you first. Ernie in Michigan, and I like this question. It's on market research. All right, all of the things that we all look at and you look at as you try and make your investment decisions. Now you need to help the people at home figure out what they should look at. Please explain what is relevant to the investor in terms of numbers, earnings, and other reports, et cetera.
Yeah, it is a good question, Scott. Thanks, Ernie. The reason it's a good question is because the things we traditionally look at, like earnings, are very difficult to look at right now. You don't know how to project the earnings going forward when we're in an economic shutdown that we don't know when we're coming out of. So what you need to look at, most importantly, in my opinion, is the balance sheet, okay? You need to look at the balance sheet, how much cash is available. You need to look at companies that have debt. When is that debt due? If a lot of it's not due for 3-4 years, may not be such a big problem, but you need to start thinking about cash burn versus the cash on the balance sheet. So in times of stress like this, it's balance sheet, balance sheet, balance sheet. I hope that helps, Ernie. Good question.
Appreciate it, Jim. All right, Weiss, to you from Jim in Naples, Florida. Your take on Charles Schwab.
Look, it's a high-quality company, but that doesn't mean it's a stock I want to own. They, like the banks, have interest. They generate interest revenue on the balances that you have in your brokerage accounts. They also have margin debt. Now, the margin's not an issue, so forget about the write-offs on those. But they're not going to make much money with rates where they are, so it's not a stock I would own. I'd avoid the financials completely.
All right, Dr. J, John DeJarian coming to you from Thomas in Illinois. Carnival, wow, is that a buy at this price?
I don't believe so, Scott. I think the buy was a couple weeks ago, but I did buy the bonds, and I plan on holding those a long time, Scott. They're yielding nearly 12%.
Okay. Amy from David in North Carolina comments on a potential long-term growth of Teladoc.
We like Teladoc a lot. We bought it last year. It was fortuitous timing. Obviously, we didn't know that telemedicine would go through the roof this year, but we think the trends are still there, and at a $12 billion market cap, it still has a lot of runway here.
All right, Michael Farr to you from Arvin in Connecticut. Which is a good long-term stock, J&J or Abbott?
Arvin, yes. Absolutely. Both of them. Pick either one. J&J has a better dividend, AAA balance sheet. Abbott, they're just both great companies, maybe better management at Abbott. Both great companies. I'd buy. I own both, and I'd continue to buy, but probably not on a day like today, maybe on weakness.
All right. We're going to do a bonus round, too, because we've been getting so many questions, and we want to try and get to as many of them as we possibly can. So, Jim Lebenthal, I'm coming back to you from David Wessendorf. He asks about Roku. Roku, anyone? What do you do?
I told you at the beginning of the year I wasn't going to trade it on momentum. I was going to see if I could value it, all right? At this price, it's still just overvalued. And I saw the good news the other day, but I'd like to see this thing down closer to 6 times sales before I can even start to fathom the value of it. We're way above that right now.
Steve Weiss, coming to you from John in Austin. What about Micron, MU?
I love Micron. I added to it recently. Their numbers are good. DRAM prices, memory prices are moving higher. It's one you want to own for now and hold through this cycle.
All right. John from Jerry in San Jose. Dr. J, with all of the uncertainty of corporate earnings this quarter, can traders still effectively use the implied moves on the options chain, or does it make no sense right now?
No, it always makes sense, Scott, because they're basically pricing in more volatile moves mean wider swings in the market. So virtually everything that we look at has wider swings projected, either just 1 week out, Scott, or 3 weeks, 4 weeks out. Once you get further out on that curve, they do start narrowing up as you'd expect. So hopefully that plays out that way as well.
Okay, Amy, on gold, quickly, what do you have on gold for us today?
We like gold. We added to gold last year when countries are debasing their currencies. You want to be in gold. I think it gives you protection in a lot of different scenarios. So it's at recent highs, and we think it goes higher.
Michael Farr, do you have a take on IBM? I just got one in from Michael Karen. Says, where does the panel see IBM post-COVID with their new leader and directions? Do you have a take on that stock?
Yeah, it's more constructive now, and certainly at these prices, management is good, solid valuation. The dividends. I mean, it's coming back. Microsoft is not your father's Microsoft. I'm sorry, IBM is not your father's IBM.